there was a vote that was cast on the Hill yesterday in which Congress decided it was a good idea to ban TikTok. And the reason that something like that comes to pass is because we have bought and paid for corporate representatives on both sides of the aisle. So when somebody like Debbie Wasserman Schultz votes in favor of the ban, but somebody as detestable as Marjorie Taylor Greene votes against the ban,
what is
I
that?
don't want to hear nothing about how, oh my God, one party's so much better.
Wait, and let's be clear. We're not fans of Marjorie.
Oh, she's the worst. She's such a clown.
We are not fans. Broken clock is right twice a day.
But here's why this matters, because the Queen is going to let you know exactly why this has to happen.
Oh my God.
Points to make. And it's interesting to hear this respectful debate. First of all, this is not a ban on TikTok. I'm a grandmother of teenagers. I understand the entertainment value, the educational value, communication value, the business value for some business on this. This is not an attempt to ban TikTok. It's an attempt to make TikTok better. Tic-tac-toe, a winner.
Oh my God!
This person is still in Congress.
Oh my God! This is like when we did the kente cloth tails. This is up there with the kente cloth tails. I'm getting Nancy,
Yeah.
give her the hook.
And why is she talking about this? Because she voted yes on this bill. I am telling you, I know for a fact what this bill is all about because we had a clip in which Jen was talking about the difference between being raised Zionist and sticking with it versus breaking away from it. And that got pulled from TikTok almost immediately after this passed. Because that's totally coincidental.
This is a result of the ADL. And now we're seeing that more and more. And that Greenblatt piece of
you know what?
Yeah.
Yes,
All right,
we'll continue.
A winner. And here's what I have to say. The people of China have come forth. The Tibetans have come forth and said on TikTok in China, they are suppressed. They cannot put their message out. Not only that, the Chinese government misrepresents the situation in Tibet.
Oh my God, the Chinese government misrepresents things. Tyrel.
Isn't this the person that went over to Taiwan when she was specifically told not to do it and did it anyway?
Like, Tyrel, you have any comments on the Chinese and level of interference and authoritarianism and misinformation?
I let me say this. Right now, we have people in this country, in the United States right now, who do not have a home to sleep in, who are starving in the streets. We have food deserts in this country. We have major issues with our healthcare systems. We have major infrastructure problems. We have trains that crash and put pollutants, deadly pollutants and toxic chemicals into the groundwater in communities across this country. Why in God's name are our politicians giving two shits about TikTok? You know, when you really step back and look at it, what is TikTok is not a major issue threatening the United States of America today. I'm sorry.
It's threatening the Israel narrative.
It is. It's threatening the
regardless
Israel
of who's pouring money in behind it to try to change narrative and things like that. I think
work.
as any informed voter and looking at this, it's like we have real issues that affect us on a daily basis, where people are dying in the streets because of it.
Right.
And instead, our politicians are doing this because of what? Lobbying money on one side, wherever that's coming from. And then on the other side, hey, it's cute. It gets clicks. I'm running for elections this year. I can stand up and say I voted yay or nay against TikTok.
Right.
Why? Because it's a buzzword. It creates a little hashtag. And then they can all say like, ooh, yeah, TikTok. Because they're just as hungry for clicks as the makers of TikTok are. You know what I mean? Like that's the sad state of our political affairs. That's why you see, crap like this being passed in Congress. It ain't just about who wants to control the narrative on TikTok, which is ridiculous to begin with. But it's also about, at the end of the day, hey, it's a buzzword. The kids are into it. If I vote on it and talk about it, I'll get clicks and views. Oh my goodness gracious. That's what makes me sick when I see stuff like this. Why are we wasting our time on TikTok?
Well,
we have
and
real problems in this country to deal with.
She's protecting them from TikTok. She's not going to protect them from lead in their water or houselessness or the fact that their parents go into debt for their health care. She's not going to protect them from that.
No.
But damn, she's going to save them from TikTok.
Let's spend some real quality time worried about an app and worried about the fact of who is, what country is in bed with the business that made that app or isn't. It's such a waste of energy and space and political currency, in dealing with issues like this, when you got people who are who, like you said, who've lost all their money. You know, as the old when they found out, what is it? I think a $500 bill could break many Americans' bank account. That to me is a bigger issue to be looking at through our Congress and trying to figure out those problems than whether or not teenagers can say X or Y on TikTok, or as an adult, I can use it and make a political statement on a platform that is made for not just political statements, but also cute videos and things like that. I mean, let's get real. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous, the fury over TikTok or social media companies in general.
Let's keep going.
In Hong Kong, well, let me just tell you about Hong Kong. During the Taiwan election, TikTok TikToked into Taiwan that the Uyghurs, on whom there is a genocide exercised by the Chinese government, they have told the people in Taiwan that the Uyghurs like that genocide. And they told them that the people of Hong Kong like the destruction of their democracy. They don't frame it that way, but that's their message. And again, suppressing the communication from Tibet. And then just people, yesterday on the steps, we heard from the Taiwan people, we heard from the Tibetans, we heard from the Hong Kong, and we heard from a woman whose husband was arrested because of his communication with somebody with a shared view. So this is controlled by the Chinese Communist government. But forgetting that, if you can, I can't.
I would like to forget everything she just said, because she is literally
the worst thing ever. I don't know.
And you know, the one thing that probably your father remembers very well from his days in the governor's mansion and just how politics has evolved. Thankfully, we're getting away from it. But these anecdotal stories about this random person that I have to tell you about that did this incredible thing. You know, I met this person at the grocery store, and they told me this really amazing story about how they went to Taiwan and, you know, they were suppressed there and we have to do something about it. That she literally sounds like just your run-of-the-mill crazy politician who has no clue about how to actually connect with people. It is all about advancing the corporate narrative, full stop.
Oh, completely. And the fact is, look, if TikTok wasn't as popular as it is as a social media platform in this country, we wouldn't be hearing anything about TikTok right now. The problem is that the U.S. government and the powers that be, I don't even want to say U.S. government because that paints it as some other force that we're not in control of, or that people, you know, some weird alien entity that's weighing down upon us. But the problem is that, let's say the powers that be, we'll use that term, the powers that be have realized that they're having a very hard time controlling the narrative on a number of major subjects, the political issues in this country right now. And they realize that they've lost that narrative through the ability that humankind has not witnessed before this day and age, which is the fact that we all can communicate in real time about what's happening to us, whether it be our personal political beliefs or holding a camera up to a police officer that's abusing somebody in the streets, or holding a camera up to a politician of what they say behind the scenes in a restaurant, or whatever it might be. Human beings can communicate now unlike any other time in human history. And they have to figure out, how do we control the narrative? Because most governments and political ideologies are, you know, that's part of their system. They have to control the narrative. They have to only have it be one or two answers to every problem. There can't be 18 different answers to every problem. And so how do we control that narrative? Well, you control that narrative by trying to take away people's ability to communicate with each other, whether they're trying to push a narrative that the left dislikes or push a narrative that the right dislikes. It all comes down to that basic element of, we must control how people communicate with each other, and we must control what's allowed to be talked about and what's not allowed to be talked about. And that's where all of this comes down to. That's why you're seeing a lot of this. It's both, hey, I can get the real cool thing by saying some stuff about TikTok, even though I've probably never used it, don't even know how to use it, don't even know how it exists or how it works.
Well, her grandkids
clearly, Nancy. But also it gets down to, we have to figure out new ways to control narratives, because our narratives are falling apart in ways we have not seen in the political status quo, if ever. You know, because, you know, and that's the real danger that they're worried about right now.
What I think is ironic is that she's standing there talking about the suppression of the Tibetans while suppressing us. So in other words, because China is not good to the people of Tibet, then we can't allow you to have their information. So in
Well,
other words,
because,
we're going to suppress. Like, it is
look,
the most
you could tell
ridiculous
there's a
thing.
little bit. You could tell there's a little bit of like envy because when you go, when you look at, and I'm not judging China or anything like that, but it's like
Right.
but everybody knows that they have a incredible control over their internet in China and what people are allowed to see, what they're not allowed to see, and things like that. You could tell very clearly that our politicians really are envious of that control. They are really
Oh, yeah.
envious of like, ooh, we want that bubble. Whatever China's doing over there to create things still break through and things like that. But we love that bubble of information control. And they really want to see that duplicated here. They can't duplicate it directly,
Stop
but
it.
what they want to do is kind of slide in the back door and kind of do it under the current, whether it's using it in like a high school popularity contest thing where no one wants to say something for fear of getting ostracized.
Yeah.
Or it's, what kind of actual machinations can we put into play to really control the narrative here? It's a really, when you step back and look at it, it's a fascinating issue it's a fascinating machination of power trying, watching all of this kind of play out, removing yourself from it and just stepping back and looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's very interesting that all they do is try to build up these like straw men with China or Russia. If you're either a Putin puppet or you're with in all these things, but in fact, we're no different. It's the same thing. So they say, oh, China is state media. What do you think MSNBC is, people? Because it's all the same thing. If you're getting your talking points from the State Department, guess what? You're state media.
Yeah.
So it's with the added benefit of corporate sponsors so that you're profiting off of it in the meantime. That's the only real difference, I think, between our media and China is that there's not necessarily a profit motive.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.